Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Janex.
Good morning, Dr.
You're good now?
I'm perfect.
Okay.
I'm always perfect. How was your weekend?
Great.
Great. Good morning, Tundu.
Morning, Okpe.
How was your weekend?
Really educational. I told you I learned some new skills, didn't I?
You don't want to report that on television.
I picked up some skills.
No, you don't want to hear.
I want to hear it. Trust me.
After the program.
All right,
I
then.
can give you the gist.
Well, all right. Good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe.
In the United Kingdom, Buckingham Palace announced on Sunday that Queen Elizabeth II tested positive for COVID-19. The 95-year-old monarch is reported to be experiencing mild cold-like symptoms. Her infection comes after her eldest son, Prince Charles, and her daughter-in-law, Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, recently contracted the virus. In the United States, the ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, in a letter accused Russian forces of creating lists of identified Ukrainians to be killed or sent to camps in the event of an invasion. The undated letter cites Russia's conduct in parts of Ukraine that it already occupies, with a warning suggesting that further abuses are being planned. Under sports, tennis champion Novak Djokovic is back on the courts, making his 12th appearance at the Dubai Duty Free Tennis Championships today, February 21st. It is the first tournament for the Serbian star since being ejected from Australia and missing the year's first Grand Slam event over his vaccination status. And Beijing doused its Olympic flame on Sunday night, closing the Winter Games that will be remembered for the extremes of its anti-COVID-19 measures and outrage over the doping scandal that marked 15-year-old Russian skating sensation Kamila Valieva's Olympic debut. The snowflake-themed ceremony held at the Bird's Nest Stadium was attended by Chinese President Xi Jinping and the president of the International Olympic Committee, Thomas Bach, who described the Games as truly exceptional. Finally, under entertainment, 2 Benin bronzes that were pillaged by British troops more than a century ago were returned to the Oba of Benin's palace over the weekend, marking a series of restorations of artifacts looted during the colonial era. The 2 bronzes, a king's head and a kuko, the cockerel, were received by the King of Benin Kingdom, Uku Akpolokpolo Ewuare II, in a colorful ceremony accompanied by songs, drums, and dancers.
Well, let's begin what's trending. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, presidential aspirant on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, has been trending on Twitter for saying that he was ready to get dirty in order to become Nigeria's president. The chieftain made the statement during a meeting on Sunday with the Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Lamidi Adeyemi, and the Olubadan designate, Oba Lekan Balogun. Tinubu was quoted as saying, "No amount of intimidation can stop me. I am ready to get dirty. I am out to become president of Nigeria. We're at crossroads." Well, let's take some reactions. This is from Great Nigeria, who wrote, "Politics has never been a dirty game. Rather, we allowed dirty politicians to corrupt the politics. The only way to make politics clean and safe for all is to join a support group, which is called the Great Nigeria Movement." Olazuka wrote, "If a man is only talking about his lifelong ambition, how he will fight dirty to become president in 2023, and he has never said anything about his plan to rescue the economy, create jobs, and improve security, no, he's not talking about you." Well, in the meantime, campaign posters and souvenirs of the APC chieftain have been circulating on social media since he declared his intention to run for the 2023 presidential election. Well, the latest is a video of paper cups allegedly manufactured at a factory overseas. Not sure if this is overseas. We're not certain where this factory is located. But, I mean, it does show his readiness, and it's not the first time we're seeing these types of posters. We've seen some that were superimposed, allegedly, on train stations and all. But, I mean, I guess it shows his readiness. But my first Twitter user talked about politics not being a dirty game. I don't know if I agree with him or her.
Yeah, I think politics is a dirty game, which is exactly why, though we criticize as we have the right to do, I always have to commend those people who are willing to wade into murky waters that I personally will never touch. Somebody has to do it, and it's a very dirty job. As for Asiwaju Tinubu, that's actually not what he said. And I find it really unfortunate when people are mischievous in this way in their reporting. What he said was, because he's never really been known to be bellicose. So I was thinking, why would somebody like that suddenly declare that he's going to be dirty? That's not what he said at all. What he was talking about was intimidation, yes, but he said something about reading a Greek philosopher who said that if you're going to wrestle a pig, you're going to be smeared, and then he's prepared to be smeared, he's prepared to be dirty, wrestling a pig, i.e. wrestling the dirty nature of politics. He did not make any declarations of how he's going to get dirty. There's some context there, which I think it's important to give, to properly quote people. It's really unfortunate when people are sort of sensational in the way that they report things, and it misleads the public.
Dr. Bantamweight.
Okay, there's a tendency when, sub-editors are casting headlines to look for, that will attract attention and that will sell the story. And I think that at one level, that's what we're dealing with here. If you look at some other papers, it's not every paper that said, Tinubu said, I'm ready to get dirty. Some other papers, provided a different context. And if you read what he said, he was saying clearly to the Alaafin of Oyo and the 10 other Okeogun Obas, traditional rulers that were in attendance, that he's very serious about this business of running for the presidency of Nigeria. And on that occasion, he listed the positions that Yorubas already occupy in the present administration. He talked about Minister of Works, Minister of Interior, he referred to the Vice President, and he said, look, Yorubas can get more. In other words, if we already have some of our people in this system, for 2023, we can take the big prize. And he said he will be the one to lead it. He also engaged with some youth. So what he did over the weekend, either at the meeting with the Alaafin of Oyo or with the Olubadan designate, in Ibadan, was just to stress the fact that he is determined and that he cannot be intimidated, and that whatever anybody says, he wants to give it his all. However, I think the reaction by people is also this impression, general impression, that politics is a dirty game. Everybody says it, that if you go into politics, if you want to hear the story of how your mother met your father, or all the boyfriends that your mother had before your father showed up on the scene, you go into politics. You will hear all kinds of stories, whether those stories are apocryphal or not, okay? So it's like going to the kitchen and you will feel the heat, no matter how distant you may be. So people just think, politics in Nigeria is dirty, and that's why a lot of people run away from it. Only the courageous can jump into that arena. And I didn't say more or less that he's ready to put up a fight. The third leg of it is, again, the question raised by people. Are we dealing here with a Freudian slip, or what is called paraphrasis? Paraphrasis is when you say something,
it's the way you pronounce
and you mean something else.
Yes.
Okay, but in psychoanalysis, it's an indication of your subconscious mind. Okay, so people will say maybe it's the subconscious coming to the surface. Finally, I think all of this, we don't need this. I will be more interested in what Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants to do. How he intends to get the ticket of his party, because he has to cross that hurdle first. And then what what his vision for Nigeria is, more importantly, not, all these little details. And I hope his campaign team or his media team would quickly issue a clarification.
Absolutely.
Because that may be important, just for the record. Absolutely. Otherwise, tomorrow the opposition would take that quote and they will use it against him. So just to set the record straight, they should tell us, what exactly he means.
We shall take another story. Reactions are trailing former President Olusegun Obasanjo's comment, which he made over the weekend, suggesting that Nigeria needs more rebels who can speak uncomfortable truths. The former president made the comment while unveiling the autobiography of Tayo Sowunmi, titled Footprints of a Rebel, commending the book and the author. Obasanjo said if a person has to live a life of honesty and integrity, that person must become a rebel. Let's take a reaction from Luther, who wrote, "During your regime, did you allow the truth you are preaching now? Always say what you will tolerate if you are in power." Unfortunately, that's the rhetoric that came after. That came from this quote from Obasanjo. Again, I'm sure you're able to interpret what Obasanjo was trying to say as well.
Yes, so thank you for that context.
Absolutely.
He used that word rebel because of the book that was being launched. But yeah, he was talking about speaking truth to power. We talk about having so many sycophants in the political space, but we also have no shortage of people who are prepared to tell the truth to power, who are prepared to rebel. It's because of those people, for example, that Obasanjo's third-term agenda fell flat on its face. So we are thankful that we have those people in our society. However, his call was important. The importance of it is that it's a democracy, and people should be allowed to speak their minds to the powers that be. And the powers that be should never be repressive. They should be responsive. They should be prepared to be held accountable. This is why democracy is actually very difficult. It's a lot easier to hijack power if you have some guns and you can just announce my fellow Nigerians and just gag the entire populace. But democracy does involve give and take. So people should be allowed to speak their minds, and there should not be any untoward consequences for doing so. Unfortunately, that has not always been the case. Nigeria is not, even looking at people who, that is their profession to speak the truth to power, the media. Nigeria is not known as some kind of bastion of press freedom. You even have just ordinary members of the public who have found their rights trampled upon because they went out to protest peacefully. So unfortunately, we do have a long way to go in regards to the powers that be accepting the truth when it's been spoken to them.
Well said, Tundu Abiola. Dr. Bati.
Well, President Olusegun Obasanjo was attending the 80th birthday anniversary of Alhaji Tayo Sowunmi, the Babala Adini of Egbaland, the Baba Adini of Ijemo, and the father of our colleague Yemi Kolako, the publisher of the Point newspaper. And on that occasion, a book had been written, an autobiography titled Reflections of a Rebel. And it was in that context that President Obasanjo was talking about rebellion. And he talked about it in the context of the fact that, look, in society, there must be some people who will operate at a higher level, who will say, we are change agents. We are not going to follow the run of the mill. Yeah. You know, was it Hubert Humphrey who said, look, the individual must make a difference. And societies are moved forward because certain individuals make a difference, because they say no. By reading him, you know, and seeing that as context, I thought of a book, Albert Camus' The Rebel, which is a classical book on the subject of rebellion and revolution, L'Homme Révolté in French. Camus was a French philosopher, and he wrote this book about the rebel. He was sketching the culture of rebellion in the 19th and early 20th century in Europe. And the main argument by Camus is the same argument that President Obasanjo was making, that society is moved forward by people who reject orthodoxy and who say the truth, who push for justice, who promote ideals, right? It's the same thing that you find in Eric Ibsen's classical play, An Enemy of the People, where individuals who stand apart see further than society and they move society forward. And indeed, I think it's very right. The kind of revolution that we saw in Europe, maybe Nigeria needs that kind of revolution. People who can take society forward. But Camus did not talk about terrorism, did not talk about nihilism. Okay? So all of these things have to be put in context. It's just talking about society needs good men who can make a difference. And to that extent, I think, President Obasanjo is very right. But I've seen a number of people being mischievous. Say, oh, if you want rebels, why are you not supporting Igboho? Why are you not supporting some other people? That's not the theoretical contextualization of rebellion or revolution, using the example of Albert Camus' L'Homme Révolté.
Very well said, guys. We shall take our final story by congratulating Police Constable Mary Yetunde Aina, who over the weekend clinched the World Boxing Foundation International Super Bantamweight title. Aina, who is also known as Iron Abbey, defeated Laura Payne of the United Kingdom at the City Coast Centre in Portslade, East Sussex, London, on Friday, February 18th. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Khali Baba, in his congratulatory message, commended the officer for her courage and the giant strides in making the nation and the Nigerian police proud. He charged officers to develop and diversify their talents towards the advancement of modern policing strategies that are capable of strengthening the internal security of the country as required. I'm so proud of this lady. At first, I had no idea that we were, allowed to even compete in other sports, as a police officer. And I am a police officer's daughter. I didn't know that you could actually do that as I don't know if it's a spare occupation. But, this story makes me feel so proud. Nigeria just suffered a setback with Blessing Okagbare's, 10-year ban. Unfortunately, I was really upset about that. But when I read the story, I was so happy and proud, really.
Maybe you'll be comforted that
yes,
Blessing Okagabare is appealing, so we see what happens there. Yeah. But yes, for Mary Yetunde Aina, this is amazing. Congratulations to her. And the point that you've made is so true. It also brings awareness of what is possible within the police force as a serving police officer. And it's also so important to stress that for every Abakiari, hopefully you have a Mary Yetunde Aina, and so that we don't just tar the entire police force with the same brush. This is a lady that has done us so proud, and she's only a constable, I believe. So I think a promotion might be in order. What's the next rank up? As a corporal, can we call for that? Do we dare? I mean, we're not the Police Service Commission, but yes, I mean, a promotion at this point. What she has done, really flying the flag here for Nigeria and for the police force and for women. And she's not the only one. Earlier, you were talking in Aaron's sports segment, yes, about it. And yeah, so police officers, being able to pursue their athleticism, other interests, to the glory of the force and to Nigeria should only be encouraged in any way possible.
Yes.
Well, the thing about these services is that apart from their core functions, they also have departments. You have the medical corps, you have people who are in entertainment, you have people who are in sports. Aaron was pointing out that the police games will soon come up, so you have many people within the police who are also, apart from being police persons, are also, athletes. You have people who are in all kinds of sections of the police, including the education corps. The thing is, wherever you find yourselves, in the uniformed services, just make sure that you excel. And we've had examples in the past. Chioma Ajunwa, policewoman, Peter Konyegwachi, the boxer, who excelled at the Commonwealth Games. And in the same manner, you have people like that also in the military. And people like this, like Yetunde Aina, should serve as an example, to those other policemen who are engaged in soiling the image of the Nigerian police force. Wherever you are, you are within the service, you can excel, you can do better. But I hope that the Inspector General of Police, apart from Tinubu's recommendation that this lady deserves to be promoted, he has already issued a letter of commendation. Should also consider making facilities available.
But that is the point.
In the barracks.
Yes.
The kind of barracks where police people live. I don't think that will encourage anybody excelling in sports. So this particular Inspector General of Police can make facilities available, and every police person that is able to do well, either on duty or in related activities, truly, in my view, deserves to be encouraged. So congratulations to Yetunde Aina. And, I think it's a good thing.
Yes, absolutely.
No matter the problem we have some of those diamonds.
She is definitely one of our diamonds. Yes. And the point that you made about Blessing Okagbaре, I would like to talk about her a little bit, if time permits, about her appealing again. I mean, I don't know what you think her chances are going to be, because, it's the second time that she was found guilty of those activities. So
I'm just trying to be optimistic for her. She holds a record. Right. She's done so well in her career.
Only because, we spoke with the sports minister yesterday on the morning show over the weekend, and he was saying that, she's set to relinquish all of her titles from June as well, from June 2020, I believe.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yes.
Because
I'm
this
trying
is
to
a
be
woman that
optimistic
is
here.
as the African queen of the tracks.
Yes.
You know, she excelled in 100 meters, in 200 meters, you know, in the African Championships, in the World Championships, in the Commonwealth Games, and also at the Olympics. Not just in track, but also in long jump.
Yes.
You know, where she first excelled majorly. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. Thank you, Tinubu. I can't wait for our conversation. Well, that's all I have for you on What's Trending today. I'll see you tomorrow.